And 3, 2, 1. Live, Die, Repeat is a 2014 sci-fi... What? Oh, crap. Edge of Tomorrow is a 2014 sci-fi action film starring Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Bill Paxton, and Mad-Eye Mooney. Sci-fi action film starring Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Bill Paxton, and Brendan Gleeson. With a script by Christopher McQuarrie, Jez Butterworth, and John Henry Butterworth, and directed by Doug Liman. The film follows a military PR rep who's shanghaied into service on the front lines in humanity's last battle against an invading alien race known as the Mimics. On his first day of combat, he's attacked by a mimic who looks different from the other ones. It's kind of more of a bluish. His first day in combat, something happens, which I will not spoil in case you haven't seen the movie, haha, but which forces him to relive the same day over and over again, becoming, at last, an amazing soldier and possibly humanity's last and best hope. Can we get away with that? Is that too corny? Leave it in? Humanity's last and best hope. And I gotta say, I actually really enjoyed this movie, which will probably surprise any of you who actually know much about my personal tastes. I mean, I'm not a big action fan. Fight scenes that are mostly CGI just bore the crap out of me. And I'm honestly not that big of a fan of Tom Cruise as an actor. Sorry, Tom. That being said, I think this is some of the finest work I've seen Cruise do. Tom Cruise is one of those actors where, you know those people that, like, when they're acting, sometimes it's like the expressions on their faces kind of stop here. There's just nothing in the eyes. It's like an uncanny valley thing almost. It's just a blank-eyed... But here, that actually works really brilliantly. He's playing this kind of smarmy PR guy who has no ideals, who believes in nothing beyond himself, really. And that dead-eyed charm thing just works really well in that situation. As the film progresses, we see him transform believably from that place of kind of emptiness to somebody really worth rooting for. Also, I wasn't prepared for how funny this movie turned out to be. I mean, some of the humor is kind of the obvious, banter between soldiers, and some of it's in the various deaths. I believe Tom Cruise himself, during pre-production, was pushing for more Wile E. Coyote deaths. But there's this whole other layer of humor in this movie. Sometimes you see the character and he does something perfectly, and you realize, how many times must he have done this and just totally failed in order to get to this point? Like, minor spoilers, I guess. There's this one moment in the film when Tom Cruise walks up to Emily Blunt's character and he walks through this, like, mimic combat training exercise. So there's all these, like, giant mechanical claw things zipping around, and he just walks right through them, walks up to her and starts talking. And I just, watching that, all I could think was, how many times did he completely screw the timing up on that walk? And, she sees this person come towards her who says, "Excuse me, ma'am," and then just gets creamed. That kind of thing is just really funny to me, just thinking about all of the mistakes, all of the screw-ups that we're not seeing. A couple negative things I wanted to bring up that, for me, they were not things that really dragged down the movie all that much, but when I watched the film a second time, I showed it to my wife, and she noticed the same issues, and they were kind of deal breakers for her. First of all, some of the action scenes are really CGI heavy, and I know for some people, myself included, a lot of times that'll just pull you right out of the movie. But for me, that's tempered a little bit because Tom Cruise famously does a lot of his own stunts, and the result is something that's tactile and feels real because it is real. But in some places it still gets a little bit video gamey. The other issue I wanted to mention is the ending. The more you think about it, and when you rewatch the movie, and when you really try to poke at it and analyze it, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it seems like it sort of violates the rules of the universe that the film sets up. At the same time, the very end of the movie, I really like the way that it hints at this universe that there's no way to be prepared for, because things are no longer repeating and the world is going in a new direction. So who is this movie for? If you are a fan of Tom Cruise, or you like time loop comedies, or sci-fi action films, and you haven't seen this one, it's definitely worth your time. Guys, thanks as always for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, which was, obviously done in one single take with no edits and no mistakes, and you should be really impressed. I've got another review coming out at the end of the month, right on my usual schedule. In mid-October, look for an announcement laying out the plan for 2022. It's going to be a big undertaking, and I'm super excited. Until then, I hope you stay safe, happy, and well, and I'll see you on the flip side. Here come the trucks again.